Hey, gun people. Well, quite a few have been commenting about Reisig doing this little Insider California. Somebody commented somewhere they thought he was trying to run for Attorney General. I don't keep up with him until you guys tell me what he's up to, because I already know he's up to something crooked. Let me go over this video. So here's the video that everybody sent. Prosecutor explains why California. So Jeff Reisig is YOLO DA. I was working as an investigator. I was a senior investigator when he was just hired as a new ADA. And a few years later, he weaseled his way into getting elected, doing his crooked things. And then once he got in, he was doing nothing but crooked. So I've got plenty of videos that show how he tried to hide evidence and threaten people. And he fired a bunch of attorneys because they didn't agree with him. And he's just a tyrant with power. Like I said, I turned him into the bar and a bunch of other places, and I ended up getting a settlement and leaving. I was going to retire anyway, but I know this guy inside and out, been in his house, been out drinking with him. I've met a whole bunch more criminals with more integrity and ethics than this guy. So if he's going to run for Attorney General of California, the voters of California have already proved that they're pretty stupid on who they elect. So it wouldn't surprise me if they would elect him. And you know what? Let them elect him, because you get what you get. Anybody that's around this guy, their trustworthy is questionable, because he doesn't allow people around him unless he has dirt, because he knows he does dirty stuff. But anyway, let's hear how he's going to BS his way here about sounding like he's got all the answers.
Do you think that crime is on the rise in California?
Whenever I read an article...
Do you think crime's on the rise in California? Is that a softball question? Who doesn't think that? Anybody that doesn't even live in California knows that crime's on the rise.
Article that suggests crime is down. I've been kind of shocked. The upward trend in shootings and stabbings and more guns on the street.
So you know, Reisig is he likes to say he's pro-cop, and he supports law enforcement, law and order. He's a conservative, but he won't say he's a conservative because he knows that California is left-wing. So he goes as a independent, which is BS, but he just won't say it. You'll never get, you know he's lying because his lips are moving. So he'll use terms like gang violence and gun violence. And I worked the gun violence task force, and I watched the gang task force, and I was there when he tried to manipulate that gang injunction, which I don't even know if it's still in place or how it went, whatever, but it was all on his way to make it seem like. Also, so you know, Yolo County is the small county in California. They have small counties, medium counties, and large counties. Yolo falls under the small counties. So he's kind of a big fish in a small pond, but he's really good at lying and coming across as this great, likable guy, like most tyrants. But I digress.
As an elected district attorney in California, I used to receive thousands of reports from some of the retailers.
Thousands of reports from some of the retailers? First of all, this looks like Sacramento. YOLO doesn't have... I would say the highest tower in YOLO is 3 stories. And he shows a picture here like he's a DA of this large metropolitan... Just more BS from Reisig. All right, let's see here.
Big box stores for petty theft. We don't receive those anymore.
California has been taking a softer approach towards crime.
It's not just California, it's every left-wing loon city run by idiots.
He also served as the president of California DA's Association.
Wow, he's the president of DA Association. That just means all the other DAs were busy doing DA stuff, and he was getting paid by YOLO to promote his own political career. No, Rick, he was... Okay, whatever.
And his thoughts on why the crime is rising in
California.
When there's no bail, the rate of crime goes up. Can you tell us more about this study?
Right. Well, recently we completed a study of what I call the zero bail experiment in California.
Who is we? Is that him and one of his cronies that he told to find out? A little pro tip here on Mr. Reisig. If you work for him, you don't question him, and you do what he tells you, whether it's right, wrong, or different. And if you do question him, then you're not a team player.
And basically what was happening is if somebody committed a crime, they would be arrested, taken to jail, booked and then immediately released from the jail without any conditions. They'd be given a future court date and simply told, come back.
So what? A lot of people are arrested for nonviolent crimes. They shouldn't even been booked in jail anyway. You let lawyers and other people who wear suits get booked in by sending them a letter and saying, turn yourself in. He is very hardcore on low income, Hispanic, he likes to say gang and gun violence and gangs and all that. He's really talking about low income, easy victims that can't fight back against him.
And they would walk out the door, and unfortunately what our study has shown is they were reoffending at an astounding rate, committing over 163% more crime than people who posted bail, and committing 200% more violent crime than people who posted bail.
Well, that's because they're letting out violent offenders, and violent offenders will usually reoffend with violence. But look, I'm not a fan of the no bail policy. I'm just not a fan of arresting everybody and making them post bail. We give citations promise to appear all the time. I used to give citations for promise to appear on warrants all the time because we had to pay a booking fee to the jail when we arrested them, and they were complaining that the fees were too much. If you can give them a ticket, don't get it. But now it's all about. So I wanted to add this in because I found his this little article on Zero Bail where he did his study. And if you look at the numbers, 163%, 70%, 78%, 90%, 200%. They had this nice graph about how many people you think were involved in this little study here. 1,000, 2,000, 10,000? So according to FBI statistics, in 1 year, there was over 10 million arrests in the U.S. 10 million in 1 year. This great scam artist is trying to say he did some big study. And if you look at his document, bail analysis 0. This study looked at a random means selective, 100 arrests. 100! 10 million arrests a year. He's making this claim like he did this great big study. Just total BS. If we get more arrests, and he's all about stats, so he can get more grants and lie and say what a big crime problem it is, so he can get more people underneath him, so he can be big fish in a little small pond, and then he can promote himself as how big he made government, how much government grew under his leadership, which is whatever.
So the study showed that this policy was incredibly dangerous and frankly destructive for California's public.
Dangerous, destructive, gun violence, gang violence, all the good keywords to make people think he gives a shit about you.
Public safety net.
Do you think that crime is on the rise in California?
No shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Crime's been on the rise in
Wow, I'm glad we got him there for that. No one else could have come up with that answer.
California. The data shows that. Frankly, I just see it. I've been a DA 27 years as a prosecutor. Last year, I was the president of the California DAs Association.
Always giving his resume.
Meaning I was, working with all DAs in California on these issues. And that was all we were talking about, was the upward trend in shootings and stabbings and more guns on the street.
Oh, that wouldn't have anything to do with an open border and 3 million more people and fentanyl coming across. No, that wouldn't be. That would be from the bail policy. All the problems are from the bail policy. BS.
More gang activity. It's been a stunning turn of events in California in the last few years, for sure. To me as well, because I've seen some of the coverage on crime, and I've been kind of shocked. Whenever I read an article that suggests crime is down, I think, are they reading something different than I am? And I've seen the Attorney General's study. I've seen my own data. And most importantly, I've been out in the community talking to community members and victims of crime. The numbers don't lie. The victims don't lie. Crime is up. Shootings are up. Homicides are up. There's more guns on the street than we've ever seen.
Oh, more guns. Oh, yeah. So it's the gun's fault. Let's see if you can pull out the keyword gun violence, like a gun is violent. That way I won't upset anybody.
In my community, in most of the region, it's just not something that I think you can ignore if you actually do your homework and look at the data. But there's definitely something going on with a narrative about crime being down which I haven't quite been able to understand what the motivation is on that. And
that's because you just don't want to say it's the left-wing ignorant policies, because you're too politically correct, because you just want the power to get reelected to something else, because you can't make it as a real attorney out of the public sector, so you sit there and stay in the government sector all these years like it's hard to stay in government business.
Again, I think that the bottom line, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. A feeling more than based on data, and I think that's just bad policy. That's a great question.
Wow, that's a great question.
And I honestly believe that it's somewhat of a mystery what they're basing many decisions on. I have seen over the years, 17 years as an elected district attorney in California.
That's like the third or fourth time he said that. Okay, I got it. We got it. You've been hanging around getting a government check for 17 years, whatever.
California. I've seen policies, new laws passed in California based on no data, but just an argument.
Man, I can't watch this. He just lies so much. I assure you, all the theft that people are rising in California, this guy's done more damage by hiding evidence, sending people to prison that shouldn't be there, not doing the public's work instead of doing his own work. If you want to go watch the video, it's on California Insider. You're more than welcome to watch it. I can't watch this guy. Most of you know my feelings about him. If he ever walks in a prison, he's the most crooked guy in the prison as soon as he steps in. And, it is what it is. He's elected. He's going to stay elected. They keep re-electing him, and nobody wants to stand up against him because, people with power will do anything to keep that power. All right, so quit sending me comments and emails about he wants to be DA. I got it. He's a little career politician who's going to lie to get whatever he wants, and not much. I don't really give a shit. I don't live in California. It doesn't affect me. Let them burn their state down. I don't give a shit. All right, we'll end that there. Jeff Reisig, the Weasel.